Next. Everybody remembers a few months ago we talked about the Ticketmaster debacle. I believe it was Michael and I were on the thing the week that the Ticketmaster sales went up for the Eras tour for Taylor Swift, and it was a dumpster fire inside of a trash heap on a poop asteroid. Okay, it was bad. Okay, and all the Swifties in the world got mad. Well, this week, Congress held hearings, right? So the Senate Judiciary Committee, now this is actually important as which committee's hearing it. Judiciary will make recommendations to the Department of Justice as far as antitrust goes, right? So if they want, yes, thank you, Kaylee, poop asteroid, that's right. We just talked about Warrior Nun too.
Oh yeah, there we go.
So they're the ones that are going to make recommendations to the Department of Justice after the Taylor Swift debacle. It once again came out. Now, I would like to point out that Seattle native and Pearl Jam frontman Eddie Vedder was warning us about Ticketmaster back in the 90s. If you want, you should go look that up. Okay, but it's now finally reached a head. There appears to be bipartisan support for doing two things. Possibly breaking up the monopoly of Ticketmaster and also using T-Swift quotes to troll the Ticketmaster CEO.
They're not doing it well enough, though. They got weak sauce, man. They got weak sauce on that.
You know, I think my favorite one was Mike Lee when he's like, I think Ticketmaster needs to look in the mirror and say, me, I'm the problem. It's me. And I was like, damn.
Some of these people probably never listened to Taylor Swift before now, and then
a bunch of them admitted it was their kids.
Right.
They were like, in deference to my daughter, you know, who's a big Swiftie, you know, and they were doing it.
Can I correct something though about your history here? It wasn't just Eddie Vedder. Okay, let's give proper notes to the string cheese incident that we're also taking on Ticketmaster. It wasn't just Pearl Jam. Just the string cheese incident. Fantastic band that usually gets left off of these things, but they also were in the right camp as far as we're concerned.
Yes. I actually think there's bipartisan support on this. I am cautiously optimistic that the Senate's going to force action. For those that don't know, our Congress has the ability to use their power to enact antitrust stuff against these things. Go look up the Paramount decrees, which is when they broke up the studios and said you're not allowed to own movie theaters anymore, and did a bunch of other stuff. They've gone after Microsoft. The current DOJ has actually filed a bunch of antitrust suits. In very recent memories, they're a very active antitrust division right now. In fact, they sued Google yesterday. Again, for the second time in second time in 6 months. They're after Microsoft on the Bethesda operation, things like that. That being said, really where you can tell, and this is how I can tell with these hearings, is when they're letting them get away with stuff. The last time I saw them do like big tech hearings in Congress, like even our representative up here, Pramila Jayapal, went half the time like chiding Bezos a little bit, but then also being like, but thank you for so many jobs in the Seattle area.
Right.
You know, like this time it was, there was this clip, and you can go look them up, some of these clips. Ted Cruz is asking the Ticketmaster CEO what market share they have.
Okay, but isn't Ted Cruz also pissed off at Xbox? Like, he should not be our shining person that we want to talk about.
I'm just saying, broken clock's right twice a day. So Ted Cruz asks, hey, Ticketmaster, what's your market share? He says something. He goes, okay. And he looks at one of the other witnesses and he goes, what's the actual, does anybody have a counter to that calculation? And one of the other guys is like, yeah, they've got 93% of the NFL, 90% of the NHL, like 85% of the MLB. Yes. And it was like, dude, if you got Cruz, who's a dyed-in-the-wool capitalism works guy, like coming after you, you done screwed up.
True.
Right? Ted Cruz is a poop asteroid. I agree with the chat. And that's what I'm saying. If the poop asteroid is being like, dude, right?
It's got
you probably done screwed up.
So the problem is that like, so Ticketmaster acquired Live Nation. And Live Nation is the one that puts on the concerts. Ticketmaster is the one, they're the promoters. Ticketmaster is the facilitators, essentially. When Barclays switched from Ticketmaster to SeatGeek, which also handles a lot of sporting events and things like that as well, they just stopped getting a lot of major tours. And that was the finest arena in the New York City area. That is a recipe for disaster. So they had to switch back to Ticketmaster.
That was brought up at the hearings specifically, where they were like, the problem is when they're both the promoter and the ticket seller.
Yep.
Right? Artists and venues know that if you move away from Ticketmaster, you lose access to certain acts and certain groups and certain bands and certain this.
But that's the thing, is it's not just that, like, they are keeping contracts on entire acts and keeping them locked down. That's the problem with it. It's not like it's not like they own 50,000 venues across, you know, America or whatever like that. And so of course they're going to run these kind of things. It's that, you know, I'll use one because I did buy tickets to it today. The Shinedown concert that's coming to Everett, just above us in March. That is through Ticketmaster because Angel of the Winds uses Ticketmaster. They used to use brown paper tickets, and then it was SeatGeek, and now it's back to Ticketmaster because they wanted to continue selling and getting acts at a place that's not actually that bad for a smaller kind of arena. But they could get, you know, things like WWE, which sells out when they come to Everett because it's a small town in America. That's the problem that it comes down to is, I looked at tickets for Metallica, which is coming to Seattle. They're going to be playing Lumen Field. It was, I think, $800 for a basic ticket. $800. And I'm sitting here going, who the hell is paying for these? Like, because at the end of the day, even somebody like Metallica has to know that the math isn't there. And that's going to hurt them in the end. So I want to know where, you know, Taylor Swift is going to be one of them, but I want to know what other bands are going to step up and actually start talking about this. So
Taylor, as far as I know, has not broken her contract with Ticketmaster. She's not leaving her contract with Ticketmaster / Live Nation. And even I honestly don't want to give Taylor too much credit here because her response when the whole Ticketmaster debacle came out was tepid at best.
That's because she's one of those preferred treatment artists that doesn't have to deal with the 500% markup on merch sales like some do.
And so my sense here is, and again, I actually think she's probably one of the artists that could stand up to Ticketmaster and tell them to get bent and be like, I'm doing it with brown paper tickets this year, and if you don't fucking like it, deal with it. Yeah. But she didn't do that, so I'm not giving her a whole lot of credit. This is really one of those situations where I feel like we might actually see something done. And it's not Taylor Swift, it's her fans. Her fans...
Yeah, it's people who are working their ass off to make it to a concert.
So that and also are literally spending 2 months' salary to go to a concert. And oh, by the way, 40% of each ticket price is the fee that Ticketmaster jumps on. And oh, by the way, if you bought them on the secondary market, there's an even bigger fee. And by the way, Ticketmaster only allows this to be sold through their internal like secondary market.
Yeah.
Which they charge an additional fee on.
Right. For a database. Of an electronic ticket. So it's not like they printed or did any mailing anymore. They don't allow for paper tickets anymore. It all has to be through their app. I mean, so from a corporation, it is a beautiful system.
Here's the thing. And the CEO of Ticketmaster at the hearing tried to blame bots. And basically everybody saw right through that because they had a system set up, right? Their preferred access system, which they proceeded to set up and then ignore. right?
Well,
They
and
got
no
caught.
system is no
They got
system is
caught.
no system is going to be perfect.
No,
There's always going to be scalpers or people trying to make money off of this. That's never not going to happen. That happens all the time. But the problem that comes down with it is that their argument was that Access still exists and SeatGeek exists, and we've never had more competition in the market. And there are certain phrases that people are guilty.
Yep.
When somebody says there is absolutely no evidence that I did blah 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 blah, guilty is fucking charged.
Yep.
Guilty is fucking charged. I don't care who the hell you are. If you say it like that, if all of a sudden you start putting those words out and you talk differently normally, you're guilty is charged.
Yeah.
Competition in the market, guilty is charged. Don't care who it is, don't care what it is, you're guilty. That is not.
Hi Google, I'm looking at you.
There's many of them, right? It's just what it is. If that's your argument, is that there are competitors, but they don't actually have a chance, that's not an argument. That's just pointing out who's going to take over when you're done. So, I don't have any faith in the U.S. government to actually do anything that's going to actually work in this, because they haven't proven that they can actually move anything through Congress at this point. If this is the thing that reunites the nation, though, let it be. I'll sing fucking Taylor Swift.
So, couple highlights from the hearing, just so you know. Richard Blumenthal said, "I want to congratulate and thank you for an absolutely stunning achievement. You brought together Republicans and Democrats in an absolutely unified cause." Again, the sad thing is that this is one of those things where they can play the bipartisanship game. I think Ticketmaster might be screwed here. We were hit with 3 times a thing, required to slow down, even pause. So the problem with Ticketmaster's argument here is they were like, we were hit with so many bots, we had to slow down and pause the thingy so we didn't sell out too many. But after they did the pre-sale, they canceled all further sales. The Taylor Swift tickets never went up for general sale, period, but they started appearing on the secondary market.
Yep.
And everybody's looking at them going, and using that, so blah, 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 blah. The entertainment, so SeatGeek, the CEO of SeatGeek was there, right? And he testified against Ticketmaster.
It would be everything in my power, and I hope I never have to go in front of Congress for something like this, but it would be everything in my power if I was the SeatGeek CEO to sit there and literally get done giving my testimony and then turn and look at the guy from Ticketmaster and go, "Hey buddy, fuck you." Yes, Your Honor. I would go straight fucking asshole on him.
So to get into the kind of a little bit of the weeds, lawmakers were questioning the Live Nation ticket merger with Ticketmaster, but apparently when that happened, it involved a dissent decree, right, that allowed the company to merge so long as they abided by certain behavioral conditions. In 2019, the Justice Department said that they weren't living up to those commitments, but they gave them 5 more years to figure it out. I think their 5 years is up. If the current Justice Department concludes the consent decree has been violated, unwinding the merger is on the table, which means Live Nation and Ticketmaster would have to split back up into 2 separate companies. Yeah. The chat say Ticketmaster's working like banks, artificially inflating prices and manufacturing a shortage. Partially, yeah.
Yeah.
That's part of their thing. The other thing is they fully control their own secondary market. And so when they fully control their own secondary market and so can tack on additional fees and basically double charge for the same ticket twice.
The thing that I can't understand is,
yeah,
why can't you resell tickets on the secondary market for more than what you paid for them in the first place? And I know this for a fact
it's right to resale.
That's not a right. That's scalping. That is digital scalping. And if you're doing it on the street, you're arrested in the state of Washington.
No, you're not. So ironically, Washington's one of the states that doesn't have scalping laws.
I
don't.
thought that we did because I've seen
they're not the same.
You can resell for face value, but I didn't.
No, you can resell for above.
Oh. Well, I've got how we're gonna fund the next book.
More
Alex.
than they're so technically speaking, you are allowed, if you're selling it on the street, to charge up to 10% more on the ticket price.
Yeah, but that's not so. In Ticketmaster's case, when you can double the price of the ticket, then that, you know what I'm saying?
No, look, I'm with you. I think it's effed up. I think Ticketmaster and Live Nation need to be broken up. Quite frankly, there's a lot of these companies that they need to unwind some of these mergers because they just have to.
It's interesting too because Live Nation should never let them go radio through in the first place too. So here's how far it runs through, because I think Live Nation owns radio stations too. So
they might.
Like, it's one of those things where, like, I'm fairly certain that they own different, like, radio stations across the country.
They hold a 5% stake in iHeartMedia that controls more than 850.
Yeah. Which means they're setting... So this is the thing, too, is a lot of radio stations are now done basically like Spotify and SiriusXM. What did SiriusXM buy that basically became their automated system? But you know the automated system that you would basically tell it one song in the past, and then it would play a whole radio station or whatever like that. That's all radio stations are at this point. They're just pre-programmed by some other person and then dispersed across the nation without actual DJs. A lot of times, like one person will DJ 50 different radio stations and just go out in the world. It's not like it's different from satellite radio, where satellite radio you have the one person in there usually in their house nowadays. Like I can do it. I could literally do satellite radio right now if I wanted to. But it's a little bit different. But then so not only are they setting the ticket prices, they're setting the tours. They're actually setting what gets played and influenced on the thing. That's the monopoly that comes along with it too.
And they're, I mean, they should be controlled by payola laws, but they're
Pandora,
not.
Yes, there you go.
Chat say T-Swift takes times 200%, Identico 2.0. This is actually why we talk about these topics on here. These are inspirations. This is stuff that we in the game, you will notice there's generally a corporation. Again, Identico is not supposed to be a how-to guide. It's a warning. Yeah. There's generally one or two corporations that control markets, right? In the waste management market, it's Pustuli. Pustuli has a monopoly. They run the whole gamut worldwide on waste disposal, and nobody can compete with them because they can basically say, we'll do your waste for free because they turn it into commodities.
Reusable commodities.
Yep. Benevolent food. That's what they do, right? And there's going to be smaller, like boutique food places, but nobody with the reach of somebody like that. It's why we talk about topics like this, is because it's a thing.
Yeah. We're a little bit of an anti-corporation podcast too. Just saying.
In case you didn't know.
Yeah, in case you didn't get the gist of the game. Treat people nicely. And again, that kind of brings us all back down to house. The problem with monopolies and monopsonies, which is what Wizards is that, and specifically where they're running into problems, is the tabletop companies see themselves as a community, even the ones that do pretty well, right? Like Go Bold probably does $1 million, $1.5 million a year, right? But the guys who are running Cobalt are not out there being like, we're going to sell to a public corporation. We're going to take this mother public someday. That's not in their DNA. They just don't want to. They're perfectly happy putting out their 7 products a year and making, decent money. 7 good products a year.
Yeah, 7 good products a year. They're never going to get filthy rich, but they're going to live comfortably and they're happy.
Yeah.
Everybody in the tabletop community except Wizards kind of sees it the same way, and that's the downside of the way these corporations work.
You
All
remember
of
that
them are
part? Remember that
kinda
part
the
where I said
same.
you can't have constant growth? The virus eventually dies when it kills off all possible hosts. I'm just saying.
Comcast, what's that? Sorry, I just saw that in chat. Comcast, what's that?
We're no longer restricted by Comcast on this podcast anymore.
Yeah,
so
we
thank
literally
you. Cheers.
we're gone. Both of us have switched away from Comcast, and actually, Comcast very specifically will not put into certain areas so that they don't get accused of monopoly. When I lived in Seattle proper, the neighborhood that I was in did not have Comcast available. At the time, it was, I think, Wave Broadband was the cable provider there. And specifically, like, we were told, Comcast carves out chunks of every major metro where they just go, we won't go there.
Yeah.
So that they will not get accused of having a monopoly. Now,
But
actually,
they do.
Ziply's starting to move in. Well, and like on the East Coast, it's somebody else. I'm trying to remember who it is. So it's Charter.
Charter, yeah.
Charter's
terrible.
huge.
Oh my God, they're terrible. I never had Charter. I always had Comcast or some version of that.
Spectrum. So, AT&T is still big. They've got 22 million
Charter was Time Warner. Yeah, that explains a lot.
Yeah, Charter is 26. Comcast is at 21. Cox is at, the delta between 3 and 5 on the list is
not very big. Yeah.
It's 17 million subscribers. I mean, like, it starts to drop precipitously at that point. So, yeah, monopoly's bad. Monopsonies, by the way, go look up monopsony, folks. That's it's just one step shy. Yeah, monopolies and monopsonies are bad. They're just bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, in that same sort
I
of
hope
news,
they break up Ticketmaster.
I do too. I mean, in that same sort of news, Google's investors are actually calling for even more layoffs, as if the 10K that they did or 12K that they did.
All right. So who's at the top of the list right now? Is it Amazon? Is it 18,000 at Amazon?
Yeah,
I know. Google
I think it's
did
18,000 at Amazon right now.
10.
We're number one again.
Let's look at the list. We can add this as a quick topic.
They say.
Google's at 12.
Yeah.
So good job, Google.
It's. I think it added up to almost 200,000 jobs amongst these.
It does.
These
Microsoft
things.
did 10. Alphabet did 18,000. I think Apple's the only one that hasn't done it.
Right.
Amazon's at 18. Salesforce cut 8. Yeah. My heart goes out to everybody who's been fucking hitting this, because it's not just engineers and people like it's tech recruiters, it's marketing people, it's all kinds of folks. Like,
well, it's indiscriminate in a lot of ways. And it's also being done right at the same time that yearly evals are usually done at tech companies.
By the way, could you handle this worse? Hey, get in this line. If your badge works, you can go to work. If not, you're fired.
I mean, I've spent a very long time at several companies just being like, well, if my badge doesn't work, I guess I know I'm fired. So, that's a little bit of how that has always worked. So,
I just think it's a bad way to do it.
Yes, the several of the companies have screwed the pooch on how to handle these kinds of communications.
Well, the problem is that, especially with layoffs this big, they've got to do this thing where they don't want it to leak. They want the news to come out at the right point of the trading day.
Yep.
But they've got to fire all these people, and you're doing such massive levels of layoffs that there's just no way that unless you do it as a surprise attack, it's not going to leak.
Right.
Like, you just can't do it.
Well, and in Amazon's case, the second one they announced was for a lot of people that we call PXT, people who experience technologies or something like that, which is basically HR. So the people who would be handing it out now get fired, kind of thing. It's rough, and you're seeing that across a lot of them. I will say that several people I know got hit with that, and It's not easy watching it happen. Not easy having it had done to you. Having been through it a couple of times myself. So
yeah.
What sucks is the people at the top will be fine.
Yep.
And probably be lauded and get their bonuses for it.
For sure.
So
well, and their stock got juiced.
Yeah.
So, hey, chat, if you've got any other topics you'd like us to cover tonight, something you saw in the news in the last week or two since our last show, or would like us to talk about, go ahead and drop it in there right now while we hit our last planned topic for the night. So again, if you've got anything you want us to talk about, we're happy to try and chat about it.
Let's end on a happier note.
Yes. Happy note.
GoldenEye!
GoldenEye! It is coming back! It's coming back. The original GoldenEye is returning to Xbox Game Pass. So you don't have to pay for it if you have Game Pass. And Switch Online, right? Which I think is cool.
Is it available? It's on Xbox Game Pass, but is it going to play on PC?
No, it's console only, which sucks.
Well, my daughter's about to lose her console.
I mean, it's console only. Now, here's the thing. That's fine. I get it. Wait, doesn't your daughter have a Switch, though?
Yeah, but I'd rather play on Xbox because Switch is terrible.
I think it's going to be more than capable of running GoldenEye. Nintendo Switch Online and Expansion Pass, that adds the N64 library.
I'm about to school third graders on pistols only, no odd job. Shit is about to get real. I really hope they haven't fixed
the bug in Facility where you can shoot the grenade at the one wall and then hit somebody on the other side.
I hope absolutely none of that is fixed and it's just optimized enough to run on these consoles.
Wait. Xbox users will be able to download it for no additional cost. However, the only Switch version will include online multiplayer.
Well, that's fine because the best part of GoldenEye was not online multiplayer. It's screened parties. It's screened multiplayer. That's the only way to play GoldenEye. And also, let's be honest, Switch and online multiplayer is a fucking oxymoron.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually super excited for this. I only hope that they improved the AI when you're doing the escort missions. I hated escorting her around. Like, oh my god, walk into the wall. Okay, never mind.
Walk into the wall for me.
There we go. I really think this is a good idea. I'm glad it's free with those things. I gotta say, Game Pass has been one of the better streaming investments I've made.
Yeah, I think it still has a lot of staying power. Somebody actually brought up High on Life from Justin Roiland and stuff like that, which I think now should be canceled, I would imagine, considering all the things that happened to him or have been brought up about him this past week. So we should probably cancel that. We should probably cancel Rick and Morty as well. And Solar Opposites.
They fired him from Rick and Morty.
They fired him from just about everything, but they want to keep Rick and Morty going, which I was very confused about because he kind of voices like half the characters on that thing, don't they?
I mean, they're gonna have to stop it.
I'm not a person that actually liked Rick and Morty all that much, so
neither have I.
I tried. It's never been I really tried. Yeah. But I'm sorry, it's, you got a guy that's doing those kind of things. Like, get him out, get him the fuck out.
All right, so you mentioned all pistols, GoldenEye. Let's no odd job. Oh yeah, by the way, no odd job.
No odd job.
If you pick odd job, you're a punk.
Pistols only. No odd job. And One Life to Live.
Did you ever do like all just golden gun because it's the single shot golden gun?
Absolutely, single shot golden gun. You had to do it.
Yeah, I have many fond memories as a child of GoldenEye.
Yeah,
and I'm very happy they're bringing it back. I'm hearing some games out of Bethesda are being delayed, so we'll have something to.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Several games are being delayed. The latest COD.
They're apparently not ready yet.
Yeah, well, that's not a surprise. So a Bethesda game getting delayed is kind of
and also Microsoft is probably telling them you better get these not crappy.
Well, and also, Fat Shark Games came out yesterday or day before yesterday. The makers of Darktide, the Warhammer game, basically apologizing. Yeah, but you downloaded the version that you can't play with us.
So I think I might be able to. I think I figured it out, but I will say it is not fun to play with like random people.
No,
and it's not fun to play with the bots. So
it's an okay game at best, which is unfortunate because I was very much looking forward to that game. But their apologies, they did. And I think they had to do this with the first Vermintide game too, where they didn't want to bring out all the DLC and stuff like that until they got the first game right. Like,
yeah.
So I appreciate that they're trying, but like, also like, maybe bring out the game right the first time, please. Like, so we don't have to like slog through like a bunch of crap to get to where we're at right now.
Yep.
Just been playing Heretic 1. I don't know that game. I'll have to look it up though. That'll be fun.
I re-downloaded SWOTOR, but I'm still looking for more new games to play. So, Chad, if you've got any game suggestions, throw them down in the chat right now. Quick breaking news: Titans and Doom Patrol are done. They're being canceled.
Okay. Warner Brothers has never canceled a successful show.
Titans, Doom Patrol ending after current seasons at HBO Max, so fourth season will be their final. The axe of Zaslav and I guess the axe of James Gunn now is continuing to fall. I'm hearing, so the James Gunn had said that the new DC stuff was supposed to be announced sometime in January. We got 6 days left.
Yep.
How they're breaking Aqua Teen Hunger Force is coming back after 8 years. That's an Adult Swim show that I liked.
It was okay. I got into a few episodes of it, I guess.
So there's some breaking stuff.
Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Every time that comes back, it's been stellar.
Dude, I miss Space Ghost Coast to Coast. That was my jam.
I would do that. I would look at that as well. That was a good one.
You could literally go back and watch those now. Like, I think a bunch of those episodes actually aged really well. Because they'll let people like Ben Stiller and stuff like that. As his interview guests.
I think that's all we got for tonight.
That's it.
Yeah. Good tight show.
Good tight show
tonight.
We will be back next Tuesday with Chaos Incorporated.
Oh, you got some more character development coming.
Oh yeah, there's some stuff coming. So come back next Tuesday for Chaos Incorporated. It's gonna be really interesting. If you are behind on Chaos Incorporated or any of the other Identico shows, you can see them at youtube.com/Identico. You don't have to get into one of the long ones. If you want to start out with one of our shorter kind of run ones, I recommend Deep in the Heart of Texas, right? That was a 4-episode one-shot that we did with some great players too, including Mallo, and some of the cast members from Chaos Inc. as well. So you can check those out.
And Eric from Gamers Table was in that one.
And Eric from Gamers Table was in that episode as well.
He plays a great character in that one.
Yes, he does. And so I highly recommend the Deep in the Heart of Texas episodes. Of course, the entire runs of Angel City Stories and Chaos Incorporated are on there as well as a bunch of our stuff. We're breaking up ID After Dark episodes in there. So if you want to hear all the stuff we've been saying about D&D or all this stuff for months now, you can go back and watch those episodes. We're breaking it up into smaller chunks to make them easier to watch for you. And we find that the algorithm likes it better. If you're not subscribed
to us over algorithm.
If you're not subscribed to us on youtube.com, it's free to sub.
You're coming back for the videos anyways. Just hit subscribe.
Yeah. Just hit the button. Hit the little thumbs up. Help us defeat the YouTube algorithm.
Help us get monetized over there too. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I would love that. Share us on social media. So, thank you for joining us tonight. That was great.
Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Drink your water. Take your vitamins. And most importantly, stay weird. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Love y'all.